Welcome, everybody, to what I think is our sixth season of Poetry Near and Afar, featuring a local poet and a poet from Afar. We are delighted to have two wonderful poets here, one who's right here in Oceanside. And Julia, we're happy that we love having you here. And Margaret, you've read for us before, and now you're out in the wilds out west. And so we're happy that you join us at a more reasonable hour. I guess it's probably about what, 4 o'clock in the afternoon by you?
Four. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a series that was started during COVID and during lockdown, and we've kept it, and we've been delighted to have a hearty group that stretches all across the United States of America and beyond.
Mm.
We've had readers from Europe and from Nepal and Jamaica and all around. And so we're delighted to welcome everybody here tonight. And so without any further ado, Margaret Sáraco.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, everyone. It's always lovely to be back in this group. I was born on Long Island, so it always feels a little bit like going home. Namesake. I am Margaret, named after my Calabrian American mother. Her maiden Borghese doesn't belong to me in the way she held it. We were peasants, our namesake's royalty, clutching her mother's maiden Camillo as much as Borghese. I visit Ellis Island, touch my grandfather's name etched in stone, but where are the other grandparents to commemorate their entrance to this new land? My middle name, Rosaria, after my grandma. When confirmed, while friends chose Lynn, Marie, Elizabeth, and Anne. Boys added Joseph, Anthony, and Michael. Why did you pick something so ethnic, they ask. Once we pretended to be as American as Hamburger Helper. With parents who disguised dialects and hid their past, I am a Sáraco, namesake of a grandfather I never met, died before I was born, his photo in the den. Why is he dressed in a flamenco costume, I ask. He was a dancer before leaving Buenos Aires. No one knows which continent our surname comes from, nor where the accent should be. I do not give up Sáraco when married. No brothers or male cousins to carry on. Women's names are discarded. I shudder and bristle. One day you are this, the next you are that. Our name should not die with me. Instead, our hyphenated children carry both. For a few more generations, the accented Sáraco will linger, Borghese and Camillo nearby in shadow until all swept away.
Mm.
Thank you. So I like to read that one first because that's who I am. And that I'm also going to mention the anthologies that these come from. This is all newer work, just so people can have other places to look to submit your own pieces. This one is a Moonstone Press. She Speaks about Voices of Women and Trans Folk. That was published in there. The next one is also about family, and it actually won an honorable mention in the Ginsberg contest. So this is Marie Mazziotti Gillan's Patterson Literary Review. I'm sure many of you know. And it's called Anguish. Sunday morning after church, I'm with my father to my aunt's house across the street. My mother home cooking supper while my teenage sister sleeps, believes religion is family and food, not cathedrals. I am 7 and crave time spent with my father and visiting my aunt. My stomach growls as I hungrily peer into the pot on her stove. Savory gravy with its oily sheen, tender, juicy beef and pork chunks bob and simmer in the sauce as the meat falls away from the bone. Bubbles pop to the surface, sweetly dripping onto the stovetop, dotting the porcelain with its red residue. My aunt tears off a piece of Italian bread, fresh out of the brick ovens from down the street, and hands it to me. The bakery only makes 2 kinds, Italian and Italian with sesame seeds. Priests admonish parishioners for leaving church to be first in line. Take it, my aunt says, spooning the red sauce into a bowl. She stands near me absent-mindedly, gently combs her fingers through my hair. Daily, she sends her adolescent and teenage children and parents, elderly at 50, who live with her. My feet dangle from the sticky vinyl green chair as I consume the delectable goodness of bread and gravy. The simmering espresso is for my father, who squeezes a lemon rind into the cup, adds a shot of sambuca, and drinks it in 2 gulps. He thanks her, looks sad, but is smiling. This morning, as all Sunday mornings at the chrome and formica kitchen table, I am oblivious to my surroundings. My grandmother's dachshund circles my legs, nips at my black patent leather shoes. Espresso and food, wine and sparkling water, talk and silence, sealed windows, black and blue bruises hidden beneath high necklines, long sleeve shirts, pants, and skirts. My aunt, married at 16, works long hours in sweatshops to avoid home. When my anger-fueled uncle drinks liquor, distilled in stained bathtubs in secret shacks on church grounds, he is a runaway truck hurtling for their children, her parents, and my aunt. She blocks his path and absorbs the impact. Not so late in life, she battles cancer, years of rage buried inside, ravaging her body and poisoning her mind. Eventually yields to illness. A warrior goddess, she fights her demon, stands up to him, weak, weary, old at 54, like her parents before her, and inconsolable. Venom spills from her mouth and lashes him with the last of her strength. When she dies, he is never the same, as it should be. My childhood memories wrestle with adult understandings as I return to the smell and taste of gravy, her gentle caresses, and the comfort of her embrace, powerless to ease her pain. Many years after her death, her suffering haunts me. Thank you. It was a tough one to read. So the next one I think I'm going to read, just to lighten it up a bit, is a poem that actually was turned into a film. They paired me with a student filmmaker from NYU. His name is Bobby Wu. And we entered this contest together. It's called Moving Words. And they turned the poems into films. It was just such a delightful experience. And we ended up winning first place. We were so excited.
Oh,
And I'll include the video clip link in the chat. So, because it's just, he did such an amazing job. Really young guys, like, 22, something like that. It's called Dear Rorschach. And if you know, maybe many of you remember, these were personality tests we had to take in elementary school, the ink blots. Dear Rorschach, I consistently misidentified your ink blots at age 8, then 9, then 10. The frowning test giver would inform my teacher, who would inform my parents I failed again. I saw skulls, tribal dress, crucifixes, forest fires, and even a beating heart in black and white and multicolored patterns. I never saw the caterpillars, butterflies, bears, or moths my happy classmates chatted about. Like swimming, where I failed the test 4 years in a row because I refused to put my head underwater, the swim instructors told my mother, no more lessons. The teacher told my parents, no more tests. As I got older, I made pictures with paints, dragging color corner to corner. I saw faces of old bearded men in lace curtains illuminated by the morning sun, lions with huge manes and floral patterns, bunny rabbits in clouds, eyes and trees at the park, and a branch that looked like a moose. Oh, dear Rorschach, we both know the truth. There are infinite images that lay within your blots. Thank you. Yes. So, yeah, that was a fun thing. I don't know if anybody else failed the test. We could talk later. This is, I'm sure many of us on here have had this kind of experience. Let me see, this one, I think this was printed in Meat for Tea. It's a Massachusetts journal. very, and they spell it MEAT. So they're fun. They definitely have a very interesting kind of way of compiling these anthologies. It's called My Lovely Garden, or A Writer's Detour. A marauding colony of red pavement ants are systematically moving a giant breadcrumb I've unwrapped from my napkin as an offering. I can't figure out where they're going. Meanwhile, several black crows have made it their mission to move the pigeons off the telephone wire next door that spans my garden. They land between them, squawking loudly, forcing the pigeons to retreat. After several attempts to return to their perch, the ratbirds circle a short distance overhead and take refuge on the McFoy's rooftop, waiting for the bird bullies to return to their oak branch. They do, and the pigeons return to the wire. Not one by one, but all at once. Meanwhile, the ants scurry around the crumb, frenetically trying to move it. Impatient, I try to assist, breaking the morsel with a stick into smaller chunks, hoping not to squish them. I'm thinking about Thoreau's Red and Black battling ants when I'm caught off guard as a bug lands on my lap. My attention diverted from the ever-arguing birds and scurrying ants. Whoosh, I send the insect on its way. 5 seconds later, it returns. Whoosh, I send it on its way again, and another comes in its place. Swatting, I realize it is not one, but a small, silent swarm of gnats. Can I get a disease like malaria from them in my backyard? Wait, are these flies eating my tomato plants, turning their leaves yellow with brown spots? Maybe I didn't water them enough or too much. The squealing, persistent crows and their bait and switch game with the absent-minded pigeons jar me back to reality. The crumb almost gone. The swarm subsided. What's next? I remember a story my husband told me last week. Stopped at a pedestrian intersection near an elementary school. He stared at a flock of crows walking across the street. Between the white lines, glancing both ways, checking for oncoming traffic. They must have been watching how the children do it, he says. And I wonder how I get so distracted that I cannot write. Perhaps it's time for a swim. Thank you. I know none of you have been there, right? That kind of crazy writers twirling. So the last couple I'm going to read, I am living in Portland, Oregon, which is called the City of Roses. And it's a lovely city. If you've never been here, I really highly recommend a visit. People are wonderful. There's great culture. And the city is not on fire, as you may have been reading about. There's really nothing happening here. So these next few poems are my little bit of my political slant on all the stuff that's going on. It's been very upsetting, actually, but you know, we wake up every day and we try again. This one is was printed in an anthology called Silence is Consent. Christopher Bogart, you might know him as the editor, and it's called At the Onset of the Russian Invasion of Ukraine. So back when the war just started. And it was based on a picture I saw in the New York Times. There's a picture of a child wearing a dusty pair of black shoes with white anklets and a worn red woolen coat, her chunky legs bare. I remember having a coat like that. She stands with two adults, they might be her parents, on top a gravel hill, points to something in the distance, her palms turned upwards towards the sky, as young children often do. God, does she see a blazing fire or hear gunshots? I hope she gets to safety, met with open arms. Pray she will not be left alone. At 4, she should be watching a flock of birds take flight or stare at ever-moving puffy clouds that form pictures, but a child sees what they see. This is how a war unfolds, a slip at a time. To witness a child in imminent danger and feel useless. She is only 4.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, there's 2 more poems here that I wanted to share. Um, yeah, I think I'll do Enough is Enough first. And this is ran in a journal called Fixed and Free Quarterly. It's a really neat journal called Enough is Enough. I wonder what it would be like if there was no such thing as profit and people always had what they needed, where we needn't worry that they didn't have enough to live, to eat, to be taken care of in old age, because we would share everything. Science fiction stories run through my mind where profit is removed as a life motivator, some dystopian, yes, but others not. What would we be left with? Where would we be now? Those same stories show two divergent cultures, usually warring and incompatible. How can we get to the right side of human evolution? My mother was moved from one nursing home to another when medical monies ran out. Ward of the state, they told me. If her bed is empty, we fill it. Alternating emergency hospital stays with a bed in a nursing home, they shift a confused, lonely woman in the latter stages of dementia back and forth to a different place, each home worse than the one before. Once en route to the ER by ambulance, on a beautiful late winter morning, she died in the parking lot.
Mm. Mm.
Gosh. And then the last one is ran in an anthology called Whisper, Whisper, Shout, a When Women Speak anthology. Amira Shabazz Bilal Shabazz is the editor. And this is just one, apparently I have a series of nightmare poems. They should all go in one collection at this point. It's called We Are Being Hunted. I spend the nights in unrest, unable to communicate in nocturnal throes that consume each moment. I am hunted through forests by politicians with guns, taking aim and missing just by a hair. I run on grass made of nails as my punishment for speaking truth to power, each nickel-plated spike piercing my skin. But when I stop, my pock-marked feet feel no pain until I look, cradle them, and cry. In my dreams, I live in shrinking homes that lose their walls and frigid temperatures with no clothes or blankets to warm my naked body. Worse, I'm unable to protect all those around me, my children, my partner, my students, my friends, my neighbors, strangers who need my help. We are all being hunted. Finally, and at last, I try and survive the night, climbing out of sinkholes while stalagmite crystals snap above my head, looking for a single path out of this dizzying labyrinth. Thank you so much. And thank you, Tony, for the opportunity to read
Oh,
here again.
Margaret, that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. You can unmute yourselves and give Margaret a nice round. Moving stuff. Thank you so much.
What a
you.
journey. Wow.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I
You're
was
a great
wondering.
audience.
I was wondering how Portland could put on a marathon in the middle of all the fires and
Yeah, I
everything
know,
else
right?
that's going on.
Well, you know, there and the plan is to just be joyful, like because when they go to film the streets, there's people are having block parties and dancing or whatever. That's the Portland way.
Okay. Good. All right. Wonderful work there, Margaret. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, so let me remind everybody, if you do not want to read in the open mic, please put your name, tell me in the chat, okay? Otherwise, I'm going to assume that everybody here wants a shot at reading one non-epic length poem. Okay. All right. So where are we? Julia, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Julia Tornambene?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we
Good
go. I
job.
got it. Only took me 72 times. Thank you.
Okay. It's a
All
lot. It's
right.
a mouthful. I blame my husband.
No, no, we don't. It's all good. Listen, with a name I have,
Rude.
All right, it's all yours, Julie. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Margaret, your poems are beautiful. I am going to start off by reading a few poems from my pandemic-inspired book, From a Window, which was published in 2022. The first poem is Rectangle World. Now, more than ever, in these unprecedented times, we live in a rectangle world, and the world is not our oyster, it's a brick made of glass. We are stuck in a fragile existence, an ironic containment. If I miss the smell of the ocean, my rectangles can somehow read my mind and algorithm manifest me an ad for the beach. And my rectangles can stream the sounds of the sea. But can these rectangles push me like a wave? Or can they salt cake my hair? Can they sweep away loose strands so that I have to keep pulling them back because they get in my face and make my eyes sting? And then I realize I'm a little sun-tired and probably a little burnt because my knees are as pink as the fruity drink I'm sipping, but I don't care. I'm laughing. Can a rectangle give me that? Thank you. This next one is called A Bird Cried War. It was published in the Buffalo News. I went to school in Buffalo, New York. So I'm always very proud of this one. We the people are lodgepole pines, reborn from flames through charred, fallen, martyred brethren, spirits exhumed, a movement heightened. Did you hear it? A bird cried war from the tip-top of our forest. Blood-red robins, black as death crows. Did you hear them? By stirring winds, we're stronger now. Roots interlaced, connected earth. Did you hear it? Song for the dead echoing far. Fire after fire, we will come back in contempt of blackened ground. Do you hear us? And the last one I'll read from this book is a little bit of a longer one. It's called A Home in the Middle, and I got to write it in a company. I got to write it in conjunction with the Buffalo Albright Knox Museum, which is I think now called AKG. They did an installation on Latin culture. On my dad's side, I am Mexican, and so this is the poem. I lost touch with my roots in two parts. The first was in the death of mis abuelos. Laredo, Texas is where they made their home, a bustling city on the border between Mexico and the United States. There they lived, my appa and grandma, Antonio y Benilde, Ramirez y Vela. One whose strong hands plucked from fields and carried home hot tortillas 10 cents a pack every day for lunch. For the one whose soft hands cooked and cleaned and cared for her babies when they were sick. Together they worked and prayed for a good life for their family, one I am now living. But I am living a life that's not without regret for being blissfully unaware of our history and never getting a chance to ask them about it. Laredo, Texas is where they laid to rest. I lost touch with my roots in two parts. The second was in the death of my identity. My mother, sweet like tea and all-American apple pie, is as white as the stripes on our flag. She divorced my father and we uprooted from our San Antonio, Texas haven to chase my stepdad's dream in New York, where I only saw Ramirez on paper at school. I began to feel like an imposter of the culture, with my blonde hair and creamy skin, my ignorance of the Spanish language. There was no Mexican in me. I was the embodiment of una cultura diluida, blanquita, blanquita, watered down Latina. I was like cherry, Coke Zero cherry flavor. All of the sweet, none of the sugar. So I distanced myself from it, and San Antonio began to feel like a page torn from a book that was no longer my story. A fevered dream I'd never return to. But it was sometime in the middle of a New York winter, after many Decembers had come and gone, when I decided to find my roots. When I thought again of Texas, the place I was born, the place my family built their home around, a place where lands and lines are blurred, a place that had been calling to me for years, and I could only hear it over the roar of Niagara Falls and New York City streets. Vive, it said. Aquí, it whispered, like a warm, familiar wind. Live here. It had already been inside my bones every year since 2005. Their rattling every winter was their way of screaming, leave, and vamos a tener una despedida. Live here. Here, where my family's footprints became pathways and roads and a map for more to follow. Here, where we planted like bluebonnets, azure like the southern sky, we are true blue Tejano. Here, where my blood is the Rio Grande flowing through 2 countries. Here, where I'll make my inevitable instinctual return to this holy ground in the middle. Here, where I promise to relearn my roots, from medicos to vaqueros, to maybe even poetas like me, who I'm certain live in our family tree somewhere, con palabras ocultas. I'll become an architect of words, building a bridge of poetry that connects both lands. But first, I think I need to live here.
Mhm.
Thank
Nice.
you. And now I am going to be reading some poems from my latest collection called Realm. It is a fantasy fiction inspired collection of poetry. I read a lot of fantasy fiction in my downtime, and I thought that it would be a really cool idea to write a book that infused that in conjunction with, real things that we all go through. The dragons and demons we all face in real life can be turned into poetry. So the first one I'm going to read is called Coronation. Rejoice through the realm. Your presence is requested at the coronation of our new monarchy. A grand hall sets the scene. Its gilded doors open, and a musical ensemble stirs the crowd as our ceremony begins. It echoes through these dated chambers, modernizing with every note. We took the curtains off the stained glass windows to let more light in. We watched the sun gleam off scepters and jewels of days old. Beautiful as they may be, we plan to forge our own symbols, make them sparkle on our own. We choose autonomy over all else, a departure from prior reigns. We choose us. You emerge, stunning in scarlet, and take your place to the left. Finally, finally, they will sing about this day, a long time coming. I walk to you now. We kneel before the altar, assured, together, restless with excitement. I take note of our bated breaths at the precipice of greatness, while we make our declarations to this realm. Then we are crowned. This next one is called Our River. My husband and I got married at a venue along the Hudson River, and I was very inspired to write a poem about it. The river blessed our beginning, bore witness to our love as it swirled around this hallowed ground. Its richness, its gravity will satiate us for lifetimes. Did you know they once called it great waters constantly in motion? Much like our love, we are always coming and going, never stagnant, always dynamic. Others called it river that flows 2 ways, much like the 2 hearts that beat between us. So mutual, so equal, so synced. This river belongs to nobody, though many have tried to name it and claim it. I like to pretend it's ours, just for a moment, like we're the only ones in the world who can feel its magic. How we love it so. Thank you. The next 2 poems I'm going to read, I was fortunate to read at the Summer Gazebo series. Tried to differentiate my set lists a little bit, but these are 2 of my favorites. The first is called Hades. I am far too acquainted with the god of death. Still I fall to my knees at every last breath. Somehow, sick in the head, I romanticize him. A mere man with sparkling eyes and a sinister smile. Naive and desperate, I'd fall for him every time. Oh, Hades, fall in love with me, a martyred Persephone I'd eat from your hand, while the fragments of my soul impale my gut and liver and lungs and womb. Little drops of blood will look like jeweled pomegranate seeds. How you'll adore them. Oh, Hades, what else must you take from me so that I no longer feel grief? Allow me to remain here, your forever queen. I'd forego my spring for an underworld eternity, what do you say? But I fear I am begging to the wind, no man at all. His profound gravity is unseen, heavy on two tired lids, swollen shut from sorrow. He is the absence, the ache, the tease of a memory at imperfect, impossible times. He is the unbearable, unforgivable rawness. His reply is the nothingness. I feel empty, I feel still. Cute. This one is also a Greek god-inspired poem, and it's called Poseidon. At the bottom of this crimson sea, you'll find drowned hopes and debris, stuck where a soul departed, leaving her in tatters and shattered-hearted. She'll use her last breath of air to whisper a long-shot prayer. Poseidon, if you can still hear me, I pray to you for buoyancy. Resurrect a desperate vessel, raise a sunken dream to sea level. Give her one more chance to float before the current coats her throat. I don't even need to sail, just want to taste the air prevail. Thank you. Next, I'm going to read a poem called Draw Your Sword. The fight of your life is here. Don't give in to the fear. The fear! A creature crawls out of a vicious nightmare. Look it in its horrid face. Fear! You're terrified. It's angry now. Fear! Draw your sword, a weapon gilded in a future you've yet to pay for. Fear! You better scream it out. Purge it from the pits of your existence. Fear! Nothing to lose. Take a breath. Close your eyes. It would be so easy to succumb. Let me take you to your ruin. I shall feast upon your fallen empire. Give in to me. Fear, fear so near, I taste it on my tears. It is revolting on my stilled tongue, and yet I scream, no! I silence the fear. Thank you. That's a fun one to read. I think I'm doing okay on time. I'm gonna read.
You're doing fine. You
Okay,
continue.
good. This one is called The Healer. Again, I stumble to the healer, desperate for a quick fix to seal my bleeding heart shut. I know the path by memory, but the trek there still fills me with dread. The treacherous wood isn't forgiving. Thorned brambles and craggy rocks slit my shaking hands and gash my tired feet, only furthering my need for treatment. By the time I see the soft glow of the healer's cottage, I am crawling, a reckless regular. Before I can knock, the door opens. The healer greets me like an old friend, though I am but one of many patients who revere her work. Her safe, sage hands motion me inside. Somehow, already knowing what I need, the healer begins to whip up tinctures and teas and sing sweet melodies, spells that feel like a warm embrace as they mend me. I feel the stinging ease. I watch the blood dry, but the ache deep within me still stirs. She pauses, realizing. But healer, I say, desperation still full on my lips. Is that all? Your healing, she admits softly, is multifaceted. There are some things I cannot do. Mouth agape, I breathe harder, quicker, allowing doubt to permeate my vision. A broken permanence? Is that how I'm meant to live? She places a hand on my heart to soothe its fury before she continues. My magic mends physical ailments, and I can give you incantations. I can give you scholarly texts so that you may read up on renewal. But the final step in your healing requires you to simply feel and do. It all starts with forgiveness. You must forgive yourself for your descent into despair and the willingness to stay there. Then you must push back up through the thick of it with everything you have. But my strength, I whisper with a touch of shame, sensing my severe lack of fortitude, of confidence. Yes, she responds, as if to quiet all doubt. Your strength is still there. It's just tired and aching and hidden among your grief. You must continue to forgive yourself for the hatred, anger, and guilt that will follow you during and after the weighted push. You must stand, you must walk, you must face it and feel it head on and alone to regain that confidence in yourself, to build your vigor like a fortified fortress. The healer smiles. Through this, you will find your peace, your relief. I take a breath, looking into her kind eyes shining with silver, and nod, understanding finally. Then I depart from her cottage under a meditative calm. When I am deep into the trees, I say aloud to no one but myself, let's push. Thank you. I have one more. And this one is called Little Princes. It's a poem I wrote for my nephews, Ace and Theo. Sweet baby boys, welcome to our little kingdom. Oh, how we love you so. We'll watch you learn and play and run. Each smile, laugh, and innocent breath adds to your joy, to our pride. It is all worth more than gold. Your eyes are mirrors into a better future for this realm. You'll wander where the magic whispers and embody all the perfect parts of it. You'll rein it in and create dazzling lives, challenging any dragons who dare to stand in your way. You won't fear the fire, because your courage will be fortified by a strength of 10,000 suns and love, so much of it. This is all your story now. We can't wait to see where you take it. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Thank you, Julia. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Nice
so
round
much
of-
for having me.
Oh, it's great. Nice round of applause for Julia. Thank you. All right. What a great night. Okay, let's see where we go from here. All right. So now okay, so where we go here from here now is you may not have not noticed I lost power in the middle of that. So you can see my closet door is open from where I was searching in vain for flashlight. Somebody one time defined a flashlight as a. Oops, that's probably better. Somebody defined a flashlight as a place where you store dead batteries. So I don't know who opted out because it didn't. When I got back in, I lost the chat. So if you do not want to read in the open mic, please put that in the chat now. And so we're going to get started. So we're going to start with Randy. You're up, and Nellie, you're on deck.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let me find you. Hold on a second. In this.
I unmuted.
Okay, and Randy, you're up, and who did I say was on deck? I lost it. Nellie. Okay, Nellie, you're on deck.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Can you hear me? Am I on? Let's see.
No, you're on deck. I'm sorry, that's a baseball term.
Oh,
Nellie,
I see.
it means that you go after Randy. Randy's first, and then you go.
Okay,
I just want you to get ready.
All right.
Okay, Randy, it's all yours.
Epiphany. Baseball bat slams. Shards everywhere, in corners, under cabinets, embedded in the rug. My first instinct, clean. I pick up each piece, careful not to cut myself. The poet continues. Fierce winds blow pelting rain in where my window was. I didn't even realize the storm was outside. Why did she have to shatter it? She leads me by the hand to the open rectangle. I now see the hurricane. When I build my next window, it will be clear, not stained glass. Poetry workshop prompt Epiphany. Anna's response, poem on jogging, where every worries whether every other runner could be a rapist. Poem.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you very much. All right, Nellie, you're up, and Maggie, you're on deck.
Hello, everyone. I'm in San Francisco, and I'd like to share with you today a ode to orange. How I love thee, wild and free, though I, born in Chinatown, in a small room next to what became a lottery, behind grocery store front, where luck was played, where an orange or a tangerine found space, rented in a 2-story building, where oranges pyramid on a plain white plate on Chinese New Year, topped with tangerine, with stem and green leaf. The kitchen god watching each movement in a Chinese home, where English didn't dominate, where incense burns and rice could not. When Lacey, the lucky red packet with a nickel or even a dime, bloats a piggy bank for summer carnival snow cone and tilt a whirl tizzy, where wedges of orange, wet tongues as phoenix of desserts, alongside sometimes with red bean soup, white rabbit candy, or ngangi bang, cow's ear cookies, gamga in Cantonese, gimgut for kumquat in Hoi Sanwa, tongue of earth and sun for golden fruit. Don't forget the loquat, loquacious, lo good, as orange, though paler in color and shape. Sunrise, splendor, gift. After a bowl of rice and steamed eggs, saying het chang guo, saying eat orange, clementine, mandarin, Valencia, blood red, navel, orange.
Oh, great. Thank you. And thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Great poem.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that. Sorry about the baseball reference. I should have explained that at the start. Okay, so Maggie, you're up, and Bruce, you're on deck.
Hi, everybody. What a pleasure to be here. This poem was written from a prompt. It's using a word in different ways. I think you'll figure out what the word is.
Okay.
You sprinkled your fairy dust over my shriveling heart, tired from wiping crumbs from the dusty kitchen table, ready to return to the dust from which I emanated. Then you showed up. A storm of passion ensued, protected me from clarity. I followed you over a dusty desert of hopeful mirages. When you fled from me, your horse kicking up dusty earth, my eyes went blind in a dusty haze. I thought we would last forever. I crawled back, clawed my way back to sunlight. When you returned, the sparkle was blighted by dusty particles. When you offered your invitation, I said, thank you. I'd rather stay home and dust.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Maggie. All right, Bruce, you're up, and Marvin, you're on deck.
It's good to see everybody after the break. I may have read this before. I'm not sure. I keep playing with it, so I'll read it again. This is a poem called Cassius Clay born October 19th, 1810, by Bruce Strosberg, born October 19th, 1958. I am the greatest. The Lion of Whitehall, lions run free, horses run free, all men should run free. People in my old Kentucky home howled. They voted me out of Congress. They burned down my printing press. Someone jumped me, tried to kill me. I cut off his nose. 6 Turner brothers jumped me, tried to kill me. But after my Bowie knife sliced the first Turner brother to death, the other 5 turned tail and ran away. I'm still printing across the river in Cincinnati. The best way to defend yourself is to keep a cannon inside your door. I almost had to use it against my own children. They objected to my new wife. I was 84, she was 15. I don't know where that's anyone's business but mine. My friend Abe Lincoln, taller than a cornstalk. Voters think that if the candidate can look over their heads, they can really see what's going on. And when Abe opened his mouth and said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand," I could see how, if you keep the crowd just far enough away so they couldn't get a good look at just how ugly he was, Abe would make a fine leader. I'd have made a better leader, but I faced a lot of resentment. It's not my fault if I'm right all the time. It's not my fault if you reap the whirlwind. I offered my services to lead the war effort even before there was a war. And after, Abe still wouldn't let me do the things my way. Guess I shouldn't have made all that fuss about how the Union could have 4.5 million more soldiers, nurses, farmers, people to beat up on the South with, if Abe would only free the slaves now. Abe finally came around to my way of thinking, sort of. And what kind of thank you did I get? My tremendous foresight leading to death threats everywhere I go? What did Abe do to have easy access to my good advice? He sent me off to be ambassador to Russia. But then the Russians freed their serfs, and we bought Alaska from them. Freedom and success follow wherever I go. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Good one. It's that fellow was an interesting guy. I always wondered why they didn't. Somebody hasn't made a movie about him. He's one of the more interesting people. And thank you, Bruce. That was a great poem. Appreciate it. Okay, Marvin, you're up, and Melissa, you're on deck.
The title of the poem is Help. Could you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
help. Right, help. She closed her eyes. The building spread across the world in long corridors that held tomorrow. She coughed into her odyssey. She would never escape Circe and Calypso. She couldn't tell which was which. Cyclops had one eye. She nodded while the teacher spoke. Would he believe it for a sign that she, unknowing, knew? Hands were up, wine dark sea. Something was rosy-fingered. She coughed, therefore she was. Why this old book? Outside was today. Muggers lurk, syringe hungry, child molesters overcrowding, Russian subs off Miami Beach. And still Poseidon? What's that? Oh yes, sweet nymph and open sea. Maybe the lady in the office would help her again, but there was no one in algebra, and in biology the girl assigned to her spoke about boys more than paramecia. She rested her head against a fist and gave herself a student look. But tomorrow was the test. She owed a history report, and there was a project due. What excuse would a mother give the neighbor when she went to summer school? She cried behind her eyes. Telemachus, she heard the teacher say. She raised her hand, but someone else was called. Maybe she knows enough to pass. Maybe she can swim this summer and horseback ride. Maybe she, Polybos, the teacher said. She heard her name. No, that's Helios, the teacher said. The day yawned. The undertow pulled at her legs. a horse rose out of a wave, its hooves thrashing over her.
Mm.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Marvin. Thank you, sir. All right. Melissa, you're up, and Robert Rubino, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. My name is Melissa Longo, and I'm a poet and kalimba player, but I'm not going to play my kalimba right now. This is from my book, Inspirations in Beauty, Piece by Piece. How can I cope? I don't know. Manifesting into the more evolved self, but how, when it could have been done in the snap? If only I was a superhero.
Oh,
All right.
thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right. So Robert Rubino, you're up, and Rick, you're on deck.
Thanks, Tony, and thanks for returning and continuing this wonderful series. Beat Up, Beat Down, October 2nd, 1980. The last time we saw Muhammad Ali fight, it was no contest. Up against two foes, Larry Holmes and Better Judgment. Since Holmes at 30 was in his prime and Ali was nearly 40, idle for 2 years, and already sparring with demons of decline. The last time we saw Muhammad Ali fight, as he took a brutal beating, we still believed somehow he'd float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. After all, this is the man who beat Sonny Liston twice, stared down LBJ's draft board and Nixon's Supreme Court, sprang to his feet lickety-split after a Smokin' Joe knockdown. This is the man who knocked out Big George Foreman in a soccer stadium just before a torrential downpour drenched everyone with the possibility of impossibility. But like Herculean legends, all of that was ancient history. The last time we saw Muhammad Ali fight, he didn't fight. For 10 rounds, he was beaten up and beaten down by his former sparring partner, who cried afterward for making happen what had to happen. And then we, loyalists from back when he was Cassius Clay, we cried too. Thanks for listening.
Oh, thank you. I remember that fight very well. Remember all of that very well. And that was sad, chasing a paycheck. All right. Rick, you're up, and Larry, you're on deck.
Tony, I think that was my dad, Rick. I don't think he knew to comment in the chat, but he's not going to read.
Okay. Larry, you're up, and Margaret, you're on deck.
A to-do list for 88-year-olds. 1, try to touch your toes. This is done from a standing position, not while sitting in your rocking chair. 2, remember to take off your hearing aids before getting into the shower. 3, after dropping the soap in the shower, which you always do, be careful when you bend over to pick it up. If the shower has a bench, the soap will, of course, slide under it. So again, be careful when you try to retrieve it. 4, take your pills, at least 10 of them at breakfast, another 3 at lunch, another 3 at supper. If you spot a light yellow pill on the floor, and you will, either today or the next day, pick it up, but don't try to figure out what it's for. Throw it away. Away, I say. 5, if anyone loves you, they will not put 88 candles on your cake. That would be extremely vulgar. If there are 88 candles on the cake, reread the previous sentences. 6, the fact that you are going to have cake and ice cream after dinner shouldn't stop you from having your usual after-lunch cookie. 7, take your regular nap after lunch and hope you wake up. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much. Oh, God, I love this stuff. Absolutely love it. Okay, Margaret, you're up, and Ann Cohn, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. My poem is inspired by Andrea Gibson and a poem I did with a poetry workshop I did with Paula Kirchi called Bless This Heart. Bless this heart every chance I get to say things I never got to in the past. Bless this heart every chance I get, travel spaces in this world you've been, never thought I'd be. Bless this heart every chance I get to express myself at open mics, inside my poetry or written letter. Closed minds are missed opportunities to heal. Bless this heart every chance I get to recite. My voice not perfection, but my intentions are. Bless your heart every chance I receive to remember you. Say your name aloud. Shed tears to your memory. You are still here, alive on the page. Death cannot extinct your existence. Bless your heart every chance I obtain to move my pen across paper. Ink bleeds you back to life.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Thank you, Margaret. All right, Ann Cohn, you're up.
Wonderful evening. And I was at the same workshop that Margaret was at. So I've taken 4 lines from an Andrea Gibson poem also. This is work in progress. So this is my rough draft. So my family tree can be sure I have not left. I say, I come from across the ocean. I come from foreboding forests. I come from castle ruins, disputed river territory with a split personality, sometimes French, sometimes German. I come from wine country, canals, and city gardens. I come from generations of Annas, Elizabeths, Katarinas, and Margaretas. I come from Johanns, Karls, Jacobs, and Peters. I come from farmers, chemists, engineers, locksmiths, and shoemakers. I come from day laborers, homemakers, musicians, and soldiers. I come from the shy ones, the sly ones, the do or die ones. I come from those who fought the enemy. I come from those who were the enemy. I come from faith and fear, blind obedience and cynicism. I come from sheer stubbornness and determination. I come from every decision ever made by my ancestors. I am learning this slowly. They have never left. When I look in the mirror, they arrive.
Here, here. Excellent. 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 Thank you, Ann. Doreen, you're up. I'm sorry. No, who did I say was up next? Did I? I didn't. Doreen, you're up. Judy, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. And
I'm out of practice.
yeah, welcome home, Tony.
I hope this is from your new book.
It's not. But now,
Okay.
terrible, but I won't make myself feel terrible for more than 1 second. So I want to say to Margaret and to Julia how wonderful your poetry has been to listen to, and to tell everybody else that Julia is going to be featuring at Belmore Library on February 24th. We start at 6:30. I also want to congratulate both of our features for owning cats. That was a wonderful thing, Margaret. That was wonderful to see. Okay, so my poem. Question marks my place. I lose threads of thought, places in my brain already in trouble, seeing, not seeing truth, hearing, not hearing sense, or a bit of nonsense that amuses rather than abuses my belief in the golden rule. Not at all about how much is in your pocket, but more about what is in your heart. Remember that tender organ? Receptacle of all that was decent in the human being, invention of he who must surely be weeping. Have you taken note of the floods? And wondering what he had in mind, what he had hoped for. A mother raising a child gone terribly wrong. Does he love us anyway, in any way? How does he do that? Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And if that's what you read here, I can only imagine what made the book. All right. I think we got everybody now except for J.R. Judy Turek. Bring it on home.
Okay. Thank you, Tony, and welcome back and welcome back. I was a little nervous when you weren't there.
Yeah.
So welcome back. So Healing Souls, 24 poems written in a 24-hour poetry marathon on the subject of shoes, glorious shoes. So Tony, pick a number from 1 to 24.
18.
18 it is. Oh. Mikey's shoes. Lucite thongs with a chunky heel, transparent to show the flashing lights inside the heels. I call them Mikey shoes because he gave them to me for my birthday a bushel of ages ago. I wore them every year on my birthday, a birthday shoe, birthday present to celebrate the day and to celebrate Mikey. He must have thought of them as a gag gift, but I love them still. Though only one shoe lights up like fireworks inside the lucite heel, fireworks that splay 2 days before my day. I clicked my heels so often, I wore them out. Circuits burned, fried, died. I doubt my shoe guru Dominic can fix it. When July 6th rolls around, I won't have special shoes to wear, and now no Mikey to share the day. Gone at 58, no suffering, no ailments, no reason I know why he was taken. Why I'm left alone with a pair of lucite sandals, with only one shoe left to light a July night sky, the other. Thank you.
Hey, up. We have one more reader. Okay. Joe Cohen was, I guess, sharing a screen with Ann. So we're going to bring him in now as soon as I can find him. And there he is.
All right.
All yours, Joe.
Thank you, Tony. And thank you all the readers and fellow poets. This is an acrostic poem. The title is Great Relief. Gratitude for even the littlest things. Reflections on my experiences. Encouragement from family and friends. Attitude that is positive. Tools that enable me to get through the day. Risking sharing my feelings. Examining my attitudes and actions. Living in the present moment. Insight into patterns of thought and behavior. Emptying myself of expectations, forging ahead, not ruminating on the past. Thank you all for letting me read.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much, Joe. Well, thank you all very much. I'm delighted that we've got this thing kicked off again. Great readings. Thank you very much to our two features. Let's have another round of applause for them and for all of these, the open mics. We loved it very much. And with that, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
night.
you. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good
Thank you
night.
so much, Tony.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Tony.
Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.